Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 273 based on novel. So let's start. Gold armor? The worker stared hard with disbelief. This gold armor had been displayed here for a long time with no one buying it. There was some in the management of the treasure hall that suggested getting rid of it or lowering the price, however no suggestion ever went through. It remained here and its price stuck at 5 billion. Dear customer, please wait. The worker said, going to call the owner of the first level. It was a seductive-looking human lady with gold curly hair. Her sleeve had the mark of 3 stars. A 3-star warrior. The lady smiled at Luo Feng. Let's go in and talk. Luo Feng nodded and entered a room behind the shop, and the two of them sat opposite to each other. Let me introduce myself. I am Kenshin Emperor, the secondary owner of the treasure hall, she said. Luo Feng nodded silently. It's rare to meet someone who wishes to purchase the gold armor. She smiled. I will warn you, there have been many that have purchased it before but none have ended well, and 5 billion is not a small amount. Luo Feng nodded. He was pretty wealthy, however he still wasn't able to simply dish out 5 billion for a worthless item. This however was an armor that was similar to the soldier and general armor, one that even a knight would find hard to destroy. It was too obvious that this was a higher level version of the other two. Even if it meant selling everything, he had to buy it. I'll buy it, Luo Feng said. This is the contract, the lady said. With the virtual universe system as witness, both parties will sign and you will immediately transfer the funds to us after. If we do not send it to you within the time, you'll be refunded 10 times the amount. Luo Feng and the lady signed. Luo Feng immediately transferred the 5 billion to the Universe Treasure Hall account. I hope to remain anonymous within your records. I don't wish for anyone to know I purchased the armor. Luo Feng frowned. Relax, the lady said confidently. Our treasure hall has a confidentiality clause. Of course, if you reveal it yourself, you cannot blame us. Luo Feng got up and left. The lady watched as he left and she vanished from the hall. Virtual universe, a space opened specially for a night. The lady appeared within a vast ice land, and in the center was an ancient palace. It was completely empty within, but on the surface of the ice outside the palace sat an old man. Palace master. The lady stood before him respectfully. What huge deal did the treasure hall do? The old man looked at the lady. This was the palace master of the treasure hall, a knight-level being. Normally only huge deals would require him to appear personally. The gold armor has been sold, the lady said. That useless broken armor? The old man said curiously. Yes, the lady replied. Who bought it? The old man asked. He didn't reveal his identity, leaving only his virtual universe contact number to contact and receive his goods. The lady replied. And it's very hard to search for his identity from his number. I can't do so either, naturally it's hard. The old man waved his hand. You may leave. Yes. The lady vanished. Only the old man was left in the vast ice land. He frowned. A lousy gold armor is worth 5 billion, why does the master value it so much? The master ordered that the price would remain at 5 billion, and to inform him immediately when someone buys it. Is this armor truly that mysterious? His master was a true absolute being of the pinnacle race of humanity. He was the true owner of the Universe Treasure Hall. Virtual universe, within the highest palace on Thunder Island surrounded by chaos energy, a silhouette appeared outside. His body was demonic like a mountain, long with a dragon tail, along with eyes that seemed to hold the entire universe within. Just standing there alone, he gave off a huge force that shook the space about. Primal Chaos City Leader. He stood outside and said, his voice reaching into the palace and resounding within. Longyang, why aren't you coming in? A calm voice resounded from within. 2 warriors. One was enough to shake space. One was calm like the ocean. Without your approval, how could I dare barge in? Longyang's voice was booming as he mocked before entering. The chaos energy parted naturally, revealing a pathway, allowing Longyang Master to easily see the primal chaos city leader in his throne. Longyang was straightforward, walking straight towards the throne beside and sitting down. I'm here because of the Yangshan race gold armor. That armor? The city leader's eyes gleamed. Longyang, have you found a way to duplicate it? No. Long Yang shook his head. That creator was simply too powerful. To make these armors in bulk, even after so many years of studying it, humanity still hasn't created a single one. Then why have you come? The city leader asked curiously. Someone has bought one of the gold armors. Long Yang Master said. The city leader looked at him. So what if someone bought it? He knew too. Long Yang purposely set the price at 5 billion, mainly to force those without confidence to give up on it and those with confidence of using it only to buy it. They may have had some encounters that allowed them to use the wonders of the armor. However, to tell him personally, could it be? The buyer of the armor is your disciple Luo Feng. Long Yang Master said. Even though he had guessed, many thoughts had rushed through his mind as Long Yang confirmed it. Your disciple is from Earth, and the humans of Earth were nurtured by that great creator. Long Yang said. The Yangshan race was also produced by the same creator. I'm afraid, your disciple may have a way of using the gold armor. So what if he does? How many gold armors are there within the race? The city leader shook his head. The most important thing for the race is to study how to make the armor in bulk. Studying the Yangshan race's limitless amplification royal armor. Just a few sets of the gold armor alone is useless for humanity. The city leader and Long Yang Master, such absolute beings, how far did they see? The way to create the Yangshan race's most powerful royal armor was the only thing they were looking for. It was obvious that the Yangshan race could make it in bulk. There was obviously a way to do so. It was a pity even after killing many Yangshan warriors, and searching their souls, using all methods, they still haven't found the answer. Ha ha, I won't bother about your disciple then, you as the teacher can manage him yourself. Long Yang boomed. If he discovers any important secret in relation to growing humanity's strength, that would be a huge contribution. The city leader nodded. Leave it to me. Has your main body returned? Long Yang suddenly asked, his expression serious. Not yet. The city leader shook his head. Be careful. Long Yang said seriously, don't fall. Even if I do, I'll use my clones to make another body, using some energy and time. The city leader said. How many energy crystals are required to make another body of yours? And how much time? That's a huge blow to humanity. And the loss of your body for such long periods of time has a huge effect too. You are an important strength to our race. Long Yang smiled. Don't get too crazy, know when to retreat. The city leader nodded. I'll be leaving. Long Yang turned and vanished. Within the palace, the primal chaos city leader sat in the throne. Long Yang had been gone for a while. Even though Luo Feng had created a pinnacle technique, his law comprehension is average. The city leader frowned. Even relying on the Shou wings, he is still very weak, however the strength he displays is shocking. Even not relying on the wings, he still has a high emperor's strength. I always knew he had some special encounter or treasure, and from the looks of it, it should be the Yangshan race's soldier and general armor. He sighed. He was very disappointed. It was because even though the soldier and general armor were powerful, these were created in bulk by the Yangshan race. They may give him the strength of a god and were extremely useful during his undying phase. However, as his strength grew, the effect of the armors got less and less useful. They were only useful in bulk. It had a temporary effect on one only. I thought he had some great encounter, or got some treasure produced by the universe, or from before the Big Bang. The city leader shook his head. A true treasure was supposed to get stronger as a warrior's strength grew, like the Shou wings in the hands of an undying could only unleash average strength. However, in the hands of a knight, it was terrifying. At the universe master level, it was still useful. This was a true treasure. This is only a conjecture. We'll see if he can really use the gold armor. He said softly. Maybe he cannot use it and has some other hidden things. But if he can use it, it also means he has a special way of using armors from the Yangshan race. Humanity knew of the way to use the armors long ago. However, they couldn't copy it. Other than the Yangshan race, no other races could use it. Just like back during the first few wars, countless undyings were reduced to nothing, and countless fragments of the soldier and general armors were broken apart and mixed in the remains. The humans later on never discovered these fragments, thinking them as part of the debris. And as the gold armor wasn't completely destroyed, it was valued and treated as a treasure. After Luo Feng purchased the gold armor from the treasure hall in Hong Alliance City, he had set the delivery to be 3 days later at the 26th camp. Naturally, rushing over from Yangji main continent would require a few months to even a couple of years. However, Luo Feng was very anxious to get the armor. Also, the many deals he had selling the goods of the Indonesia youth were mostly set in the 26th camp too. Hence, he had to rush over. Using the star-eating plant's god country teleportation, he immediately returned to human territory. This time he teleported to a close space to Kangbird star. After flying in the dark universe for 2 days, he arrived there and used the space pathway to head to the 26th camp in the 7th battlefield. Within the transportation pathway of the 26th camp. New recruits are here. Go lead the new recruits. Why are there so little this time? The leader of the new recruits, the white-robed Undying, and his underlings were all shocked to see so few of them. According to the rules, normally only after 100 sector lords were gathered would they send a group. And usually the accompanying domain lords and universe levels would add up to a few thousand at least. This time, however, there was only over 1,000 of them, about 10 sector lords. A formless pressure spread out. The expression of the white-robed Undying changed. His gaze landing on a silver-armored and silver-winged youth. The pressure coming from the youth was powerful. It made this Undying go pale. So an emperor has come. No wonder they sent so little this time. Kangbird Star dared to make the sector lords, domain lords, and universe levels wait, but they didn't dare do so to an emperor. Lord. The white-robed Undying welcomed him. I know where to go, Luo Feng said, after which he followed the familiar pathways within. This scene made the Undying and his underlings all smile. The group of new recruits blinked. This great being was at least an official too. My living quarters are the same as before. Luo Feng was given the same villa within. Looks like no one has taken it since then. There were 2 usual practices for the distribution of spaces. The higher contribution points emperors would be given a place, and as long as no other Undying takes it after he leaves, he would be given the same place after. Ha, young. A voice resounded. Luo Feng looked into the distance. About 100 kilometers away on a mountain peak, there stood a luxurious villa. A silhouette gazed over. Zi Ma. Luo Feng smiled back. It hasn't been long since you came last time. Why are you back again? Ha ha, what a pity. Kutuo is currently at Star Tower. The emperor said from afar, after which he soared through the air and appeared outside Luo Feng's island. This was an other race warrior with 3 heads, and one was bigger than the other 2, not inviting me over. Would I dare? Please come. Luo Feng said. The island was a personal private space. Without permission, no one was allowed to enter. Within the camp, no one dared break this rule. It hasn't been a year since your return last time. Ci Ma said. I have some business, hence the quick return. Luo Feng said. He immediately returned to Yangji main continent after buying the goods to fight it out with the Indonesia youth. After killing him and getting the second black metal board, he trained for another 3 months before returning. Indeed, it hadn't been a year. After returning, Luo Feng met up with a few emperor friends and many of them said, Yan, you were in black armor and wings before, why are they silver now? Luo Feng immediately replied, my armor changes color frequently, from black to silver, it may even turn gold soon. This made many emperors laugh. Back in the camp. During the first day, Luo Feng swiftly handed large amounts of the goods to the Virtual Universe Company delivery department, sending them towards the emperors he sold them to. During the second day, the gold armor arrived. Sir, these are the goods you ordered. The staff member stood outside the island. Please confirm your identity. Confirmation complete. Thanks. Luo Feng received the space ring. The employee bowed respectfully and left. Luo Feng used his world energy to enter the ring and easily discovered the one item within, the gold armor. Actually, from the moment the employee arrived at the 26th camp, his body's every cell was already jumping from within. Luo Feng knew at that point that the treasure had arrived. He knew even without checking. He was incredibly excited. Even though his guess before had a high chance, without feeling it personally, there was no way to confirm it 100%. Such a thrilling feeling. My entire body is shaking. Luo Feng's eyes held suppressed excitement. 5 billion mixed elements. Even the silver armor. Just in terms of soul and physical attacks, it can diffuse over 90% of it. This is enough to make an emperor go bankrupt. Even if it was 50 billion, I would still buy it. Much less just 5 for this gold armor. I've struck it big. Let's see, the previous two were soldier and general, what would this one be called? Luo Feng excitedly returned to his quarters and let the golden horned beast within his internal world study the gold armor. Internal world. A vast grassland, a huge mountain-like golden horned beast lay there. Suddenly he got up quickly. Because it had been training the second volume of the nameless manual all this while, its body constantly crumbled to nothing. Hence, it had long forced the general armor pearl out of its body. The over 8-meter tall golden armor appeared in the air above the grassland. Howl! The beast raised its head and howled, looking at the tiny gold armor. The descending armor seemed to be hit by some strong force, instantly becoming a beam of gold light rushing into the beast's body. After which, it became countless gold threads melding with its every cell, and a peculiar imprint began to form at its chest. There on the beast's chest, above the scales, the Yangshan word king appeared before dispersing. King. Black-cloaked Luo Feng stared at the huge scale on the beast's chest. Surprised, he said, "It's indeed what I guessed. A higher level than the two armors from before, this should be the king armor. Soldier, general, king, I wonder if there are others that are even stronger. Who cares, this king armor alone is placing huge stress on the beast. Let's see if it can trigger the full power of it. King armor, gather." Black-cloaked Luo Feng stared at the huge beast before it. Howl! The beast raised its head and howled. Gold began to swiftly form throughout its body. The black scales quickly became gold, and in an instant, the entire beast had become a glaring gold, its powerful aura spreading throughout. Not enough. The pressure is too huge. The three bodies all shared one consciousness. Black-cloaked Luo Feng changed his expression. The beast howled and triggered its blood river energy. Its body strength amplified 12 times. Still not enough. The beast began to shrink, unleashing deities of the world. Beast God transformation. Natural ability. Using everything. The beast's body kept growing in strength. The pressure from the gold armor was decreased over 99%. Yet it still felt painful and uncomfortable. It was obvious the beast hadn't pushed it to its limit. The beast's body is actually unable to fully utilize the king armor? Later on, Luo Feng forced out the king armor pearl and let the beast continue training in the second volume of the nameless manual. Simultaneously, he left the camp and took a ship for a few months to return to Yangji main continent, beginning his training days. Studying the laws. Studying his moon policy. And also studying the second volume. He would occasionally go out to hunt. It was pretty easy on him. As his earth body had the silver armor and silver wings, it made the warriors on Yangji continent know there was a powerful human warrior called Yang with emperor strength. He was fast and intrepid with high emperor strength, and was not to be messed with. In the blink of an eye, 30 years had passed. Ha, I finally finished the second volume. Now I can completely unleash my strength. The beast can unleash over 10,000 sector lords' strength. I don't believe I can't fully utilize the king armor now. Within his internal world, black-cloaked Luo Feng floated in mid-air and stared ahead. The beast once again melded with the king armor pearl. Hua! The completely black golden horned beast shrank and became like a little beast god, instantly becoming its strongest form, and was covered in gold completely. I've already successfully pushed it to its limit. It truly takes 10,000 sector lord strength to push the king armor to its limit. The beast howled with joy as it resounded throughout the grassland and skies. This king armor had given the beast a total of 100,000 sector lord strength. A human emperor body at pinnacle level could only produce 100,000 sector lord strength. This king armor's power was incredibly. Ha! I fear no one on Yangji main continent anymore. With such an intrepid body, he was able to completely block 100,000 sector lords level of power, physical or soul. It meant that any attack from a pinnacle emperor and below was completely blocked. Even an attack stronger than that would be diffused by over 90%. In defense, the king armor was much stronger than the general armor. In the 189th year, Luo Feng was in Yangji main continent. Within the edges of the continent, there was a majestic mountain range over 1,000,000 kilometers high. A silver-armored and winged youth was lying on a stone, and beside him was a blood shadow blade. He muttered, "Hope that Night Emperor has some good news for me. Hope it doesn't waste my time." A silhouette appeared beside him. "He's come." The youth got up. "Yang, you sure are casual." Night Emperor mocked. He was in a dark red armor and he had wings with gold eyes. Occasionally, Luo Feng's eyes were like lightning, giving off a terrifying energy. As a black warrior with a thick mix of the beast god bloodline, he maintained his beast god transformation all the time, along with the pressure the Showu wings gave off. How could it not be terrifying? Speak, why have you come to me? And how come we cannot speak in the virtual universe, but having to come here personally? Luo Feng looked at him. Big news, big, but good news. Knight Emperor emphasized. What news? Luo Feng was curious. Over time, he had acquired many emperor friends, of which some were in the main continent with him. The main thing was that his earth body form used the name Yang to interact. Naturally, the golden horned beast had several friends too, like Star Fantasy Emperor. However, the beast made friends mostly with the rare other races, and it only had a total of 3 friends. The earth body had many friends, of which he was closest to this Knight Emperor. Knight Emperor was one of the human races, a pinnacle emperor with the ability to teleport. He was intrepid and brutal, not easily recognizing others. However, the moment he did, he was straightforward and easy with them. Luo Feng had sparred with him several times. After he was recognized, the two of them became true friends. In the words of Knight Emperor, your instantaneous speed is simply too fast. Even though I'm able to teleport, the moment I do, you've already dodged. Unless one is proficient in soul attacks, it's extremely hard to harm you. We'll speak in your cave. Knight Emperor was being very cautious. So cautious? Luo Feng smiled. He could feel the atmosphere as he brought Knight Emperor into the cave. Within, the two of them sat down. Yang, you should know of some of Yangji continent's legends, right? Knight Emperor said. Let's communicate mentally, just in case there's some warriors with scanners more advanced than ours. Of course on the main continent, it's rare for that to happen. Anyway, we have to be careful. Yangji continent legends? Luo Feng was stunned. You are speaking of Sacrificial Tower? Knight Emperor nodded. The 7th battlefield had many mysterious places. Like Yangji main continent and Star Tower and other battle regions, they all had their legends, like the main continent usually had many sacrificial statues about. Even over trillions of years, they had yet to fully decay, and their energy usage was shocking, making many warriors ponder about the indigenous people of the continent. I've heard of some. Luo Feng frowned. Back then when the 7th battlefield was first opened, I heard that the 4 pinnacle races swept through the area to forge the battle regions. The indigenous people of the main continent were naturally driven out, and unable to stand up against the 4 pinnacle races. As it was sudden, only part of them got away, and many others were massacred. Yangji main continent is most known for its sacrificial towers, and every one of them is a huge survival base. The indigenous people had many treasures stored within them before taking them along and fleeing. However, as it was rushed, many didn't manage to get away. Some were taken away by the 4 pinnacle races, while some were left hidden in parts of the continent. I heard that they are mysterious in their construct, that even a Knight's god energy cannot detect them. Our scanners cannot detect them at all. Luo Feng said, 10 towers were discovered so far. Have you discovered a tower? Luo Feng smiled at him. Knight Emperor's expression was serious, nodding. Damn. Luo Feng suddenly stood up, staring at Knight Emperor. Are you lying to me? Am I truly that lucky? I'm not lying. Knight Emperor emphasized. What's going on? Luo Feng looked at him, frowning. We are definitely good friends. However, the sacrificial towers, they are survival bases from when the indigenous people fled, and they hold a large amount of treasure. That's the amount of an entire race, even though each tower only has a small portion, but it's still a huge amount to us emperors. Such an amount of treasure, there's no need for you to share. Every place had its own stories. Like back on Shattered Stars, Yangji main continent or Star Tower. They all had their own stories. Yangji continent's sacrificial towers were renowned, and several top battle regions in the 7th battlefield, like Star Tower, had even more precious treasures that would make emperors go crazy for. Of course, only one appeared once in a while. But even so, the probability was still much higher than discovering a sacrificial tower. You are right. Even as friends, there's no need to share. Knight Emperor smiled. The reason I'm inviting you is because of your flying and dodging abilities. In a critical time with space lockdown, we can rely on it to escape. After sparring so many times, your flying ability is truly impressive. Ha! Luo Feng smiled. I'll tell you in detail. Knight Emperor emphasized. I fought with another race emperor, who had hid within a deep cave. Even though he was weaker than me, he's still a high emperor. That fight, we gave it our all and the ground collapsed, and the space tore apart. He was already heavily injured and was fleeing, then we unexpectedly discovered the tower. It's incredibly mysterious, even the knights cannot break through it or detect it. It's a survival base of the indigenous people of the main continent. Naturally, both of us were unable to forcefully keep it in our world rings. However, at the entrance lay a body of one of the indigenous people. Both of us discovered a talisman to enter the tower. We immediately fought to acquire it. The main thing was that he had the advantage as he got there first. Even though I'm stronger, I only got half of it. There were a total of 6 parts to that talisman. I got 3 and he got 3. According to the items we found on that body, there was an instruction that said one could enter the tower with the talisman. However, the 6 parts had to be used from 6 different sides simultaneously to get the treasure within. Knight Emperor shook his head helplessly. Since both of us got part of the talisman, we could enter the tower. However, we could only move about in the living areas, etc. The treasure areas within had all sorts of security devices. Hence, we need 6 of us to enter simultaneously. And to activate that door. Knight Emperor, these 6 life forms may need to be indigenous people. Luo Feng frowned. The tower may have said that only indigenous people can enter, and it wouldn't let us other races take the treasure. Even with the 6 talismans, we may not be able to get it. I definitely understand that. Knight Emperor said. However, didn't other warriors acquire the treasures from the other towers before? Anyway, the treasure left behind by the indigenous people is within. Even though this is only one tower, it should be akin to at least a knight's wealth. And over countless years, its defenses may have already grown old and weakened. Knight Emperor said. Risking it to get such a treasure, I'd definitely do it. Yang, will you go? Danger comes with risk. Luo Feng smiled, of course. Luo Feng was pretty confident of his survival ability. Looking at the history, there were others that had gotten the treasures from sacrificial towers before. Why couldn't he do so too? Let's go, follow me to look for Piercing Tiger Emperor. Knight Emperor said. Piercing Tiger? Luo Feng asked curiously. Let's go. Knight Emperor held onto Luo Feng and teleported. In another side of the continent, Piercing Tiger Emperor and his team were stationed around a cave in a mountain. It was normal to see one stay either in a cave or underground. Within a palace. Luo Feng, Knight Emperor, and Piercing Tiger Emperor stood there. Even though Piercing Tiger wasn't a human, he was from the human camp. Hence, he was naturally on good terms with the other 2. Yang, Knight Emperor, why have you come here? He asked. And we have to communicate mentally even without any underlings around. Looks like it's something big. A huge thing indeed. Knight Emperor began to repeat the story again and tell him about the sacrificial tower. I'm in. He slapped the table. How could I not go for such a chance? Even after exploring the many secret regions amidst life or death, we may not get such a treasure. Good. Knight Emperor was very excited. I'm proficient in teleportation. Piercing Tiger, you are proficient in space lockdown and attack, and Yang is proficient in flying. With the 3 of us combined, and all of us having plant life forms, we can definitely get the treasure. We'll set the distribution of the treasure 2:1:1. How's that? Knight Emperor looked at the 2. We'll all work together to get the treasure. I'll have the portion of 2 while you both get 1. Piercing Tiger exchanged glances with Luo Feng. After which, they both nodded at Knight Emperor. Good. Sweet. Knight Emperor smiled too. He was clear that these 2 were not ordinary people. Piercing Tiger had strength on par with him. As for Yang, his flying ability was absolute, and they all had their own trump cards as well. Especially Yang, every time he saw him fly, he would get shocked. This movement was something he created himself, and it displayed his amazing talent on how he must be heavily nurtured by the race. If it was something taught by his teacher, it meant his background was terrifying too. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.